Real legend vibes.
Drive through the door like a hurricane spinning. Backhand gang always winning, never thinning. Bricks in the vision, stacking heights like a ladder. The first reckless graduate, nothing else matters. Taught by the bold KG, the professor. Class full of haters, no time for the lesser. Blueprint sharp, every line be surgical. Gang move wild, but the hustle's vertical. Shut up! There's a takeover anthem. Backhand gang, no pressure, no tantrum. Play with the bass, see the streets gon' feel it. Records on the rise, no way to conceal it. Backhand gang, backhand gang, backhand gang. What? Backhand gang, backhand gang, backhand gang. Backhand gang, shut up! Backhand gang, backhand gang.
It's time!
Yes, people, what's good? What's really good? Good morning, good evening, and good night, depending on where you are in the world or whatever time you decide to watch this. I am Joe Blackman, and this is another episode of The Rundown. And I know it's late, and I know I'm at risk of having absolutely not one person turn up. But you know what? Consistency is key. And I did all this preparation, and I thought, you know what? I might as well do the show still. So I'm doing the show. I am doing the show. Here I am. Technically, I really didn't do a show yesterday now, because it is after midnight and it is 1:34 in the morning where I am. So if you are watching, let me know what time it is and wherever in the world you are watching from, because I can see I got at least 4 to 5 people in here watching. So if you could just let me know where you're watching from, that would be good. But guys, listen, today we're just going to run through. I don't know if you guys know what this show is usually like, but I'm just trying to tell you that this show, basically we run through what we saw this morning, and we go through everything and we give our own little opinions on it, and we either cuss out the content creators that we like, or we tell them our own opinions, whatever it is. But today, a little bit of a late one. It's a little bit of a late one, so I've had time to actually see some later shows like Minna's show. I got to see Minna's show today, and I saw bots who actually had an opposite view to what Minna was saying. So I'm going to play those two in this show as well. So guys, please, if you are in here, smash the like button and share it to your friends if anybody is about, because I would love to get some more people in here. I want to grow this channel as big as possible. Road to 1K. Joe's on his way. But yeah, let's get straight into the show anyway. So I'm going to start with the main man himself, Mr. KG, the man that made it all possible, from, as you can see from the video. And he did actually a little bit of a hit piece today on Jadon Sancho. And you know what? I don't even know if he knew that his contract may be up for renewal. So we'll talk about that afterwards. But let's just see what KG had to say about Jadon Sancho.
One, because I saw a clip of Jadon Sancho that made me want to talk about this. And straight up, Ten Hag was right. That's where you have to start. Ten Hag was right about Jadon Sancho. Simple, because let's look at how this man's career is playing now. And I'm not going to talk about off-field activity. I'm just going to talk about on.
I had to get that little bit in there when you said that Ten Hag was right in it. Yeah, I could have started that video from anywhere, but I had to get that Ten Hag was right bit.
On-pitch decisions, and they have been terrible, or football career decisions, I would say. They've been nothing short of terrible. When you spoke about youth or players that are coming up in the game that were very dangerous, ones to watch, ones to look out for, you couldn't leave out Jadon Sancho's name. When it was linked to Man United, I was beyond excitement, because I was like, this is the player, the answer to the right-hand side. And that was the first mistake I made, calling him the answer to the right-hand side when he only wanted to play on the left. That was...
Yeah, but you know what, though? I feel like we were all fooled by that, innit? Yeah. We saw him playing on the right for Dortmund. Yeah, we all saw him playing on the right for Dortmund. So we thought that was the guy. He was doing it in Dortmund. German league, we've seen plenty of players in the German league do well over here. So there was no reason to, and he was an English player. So you would think that the adaptation would be just fine for him, innit? He should be able to climatize just fine. But in reality, what we got was something else. But anyway, let KG finish.
Silly from me, but then leave that aside. Yes, answer to the right-hand side, pulls up at Man United, and then struggles. Under Oli, can't get game time. Ten Hag, can't get game time. doesn't get selected, and then we hear the news happens, right? And then I think the people were divided on which way to go, and obviously there's that thing, you want to stick by him. You from South London, Croydon, he's around the bits, Kennet and all that good stuff. You're excited, you want to back him, but then, and there's talent there, but then on his day, he's an on his day type talent one. Now you're thinking, look.
Do you know what? Yeah, I think that we need to stop that South London tax or London tax or Brethren tax or Mandem tax, whatever you want to call it. I think that needs to stop, innit? There's a lot of taxes that we need to stop here as well at Manchester United, and just on a whole. Yeah, this whole culture situation, we need to look at that. I'll probably look at that on another Truth is Truth coming up soon. But this whole culture thing and, always backing people just because they're black or because, they're from where you're from, it don't mean nothing. If they're not putting in the effort or giving you what you're supposed to get from them, then what's the point? Don't back them for no reason, innit? That's how Player FC starts in the first place.
Goes to Dortmund, and the red flags have always been there with Jadon Sancho. Finally goes to Dortmund on loan. They're talking about home, this, that, and the other. Does well, but then when it's time to put down the bread and make him a permanent, they opt out. That for me was everything, because look, they can't say expensive, this, expensive, that, mate. You didn't try it. If there's something, I know any club, if they're happy with a talent, they're gonna do their best to make sure that talent stays regardless. There's no way they let that talent out their sight. Why? Because they know they're better with him than without him. They've seen him and said, you know what? Nah, we might try to loan you again. But I didn't say you ripped it up there, because clubs find a way. Clubs will find a way. If they love something, they're finding a way. Look at the Anthony situation.
Exactly. Look at the Anthony situation. No, and do you know the funny thing is, KG was saying all of these things about Sancho. I don't even know the reason why he actually decided to wake up this morning and speak about Sancho, because there was another part of the story that I feel like he missed out. The fact that he's up for contract renewal very soon, and Goldberg actually hit on it this morning. Sorry, Goldberg. What did I say? No, Goldbridge hit on it this morning, and here's what he had to say about it anyway. Look, let's see what Goldbridge had to say about the whole contract renewal situation for Sancho, and we'll get into it afterwards.
The option of a +1 on Jadon Sancho. Now, we can activate that, effectively keeping him as a Man United player for another year in the attempt to try and get a transfer fee for him in his final year, or we can just let him go for nothing this summer. That removes the 250 grand a week. That also puts up a big, massive L to say that we spent £75 million on a player who's still in his mid-20s and we're letting go for free. I think this will come down to, I don't even think this will come down to Ruben Amorim, but I'm interested to know what you think we should do. I don't even think it comes down to Ruben Amorim, because I don't think Ruben Amorim wants Jadon Sancho. I think this is going to come down to the business people and whether they go, do we extend him to try and get a transfer fee, or do we let him go and admit we've just blown £75 million and £1 million a month in wages on a player who is still going to be mid-20s going for nothing? And I think that is a decision that is not going to be our decision. It's going to be everybody else's decision. And I'm not too sure as to what they're going to do. For me, get rid. I think that the way a football club should be acting, and it goes bigger than Jadon Sancho, is that if a player is not part of the vision, you remove that player. We're a football club. We're not a bloody bank. But unfortunately, we are run like a bank and we are run like a business. And they may trigger that final year just to try and get some money for him in the summer. Because let's be honest, Jadon Sancho has probably been running his contract down for the last 2 or 3 years, knowing that if he's free next summer, it's another big payday for him as well. So I just think cut our losses and go.
Do you know what? Yeah, it would be absolutely criminal if they do sign Jadon Sancho for an extra year. I mean, look, Goldbridge touched on it just then. Yeah, he said that they could just be signing him so that they could sell him on, and that's fair enough. In that respect, what can we do in it? Yeah, it's not going to be our decision anyway, but that is kind of worrying times. What if you see Jadon Sancho back on the pitch? Is that a possibility in your head? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And when I open the lines, please also let me know if anybody pulls up. That is, by the way, I know it's late, but yeah, let's get on to the next subject that was hitting the airwaves this morning. And early this morning, it was breaking everywhere that Elliot Anderson, yes, a price tag has been put on his head. That now that we're interested, Manchester United, now that we're interested, obviously, he's gone up for 100 M's. 100 M's. Can you imagine? Anyway, let me let Owen explain it properly, like he always does. Big up Owen for always coming through with the good explanations in the morning. So I'm just gonna let Owen explain it, and then we're gonna go into what other people think. I'll give you my thought, and then we'll get into the main conversation of today. 1 second.
100 million to possibly 120 million pounds. My goodness me, Flex. This was quite an interesting one coming from our good friend Florentine Plettenberg, who has said that Manchester United and Newcastle are just two of many top clubs closely monitoring Elliot Anderson. Their interest, interestingly, has already been registered. So we've already, I don't know if that's to Forest, probably to the player, and it was his agent.
Yeah, probably.
I've said that, hey, we're interested in him. Forest, of course, they're aware. He's a key player for them, and Sean Dyche. And understand, according to Florian Plettenberg, for a transfer in the summer, a fee of around 100 to 120 million pounds, not euros, pounds, is currently being demanded. There is no release clause.
Now, for me, that is crazy money. Crazy money for a guy that is just relatively just come on the scene. Do you know what I mean? So, look, I think there's going to be a lot of caveats to this story. I do believe that we have the opportunity to bring that price down. You know, it's something that we've seen our ownership do in the past. You know, we've heard who was quoted at crazy money that we got in recently. Yoa was quoted at crazy money, we got him in. Xerxes was quoted at crazy money, we got him in. You know, we've even, you know, the likes of the newer signings like Mbeumo and Cunha, they was priced at crazy money, but we got that down. So if we can continue to do that, I think we could probably get Anderson for a lot cheaper than what's been quoted. But I think that also depends on what happens to Nottingham Forest this season as well, and how he perform. He's gonna hopefully he continue to perform well so that we can, you know, get a good player in good form. But you know, who knows where Nottingham Forest end up this season? So let's see how that goes. Let's see what Flex had to say. Then we'll jump over to Adam from Forever United TV. But let's stick with United View right now and see what Flex had to say about that situation. 1 second.
Elliot Anderson, Manchester United. Could it be a match made in heaven? Now, we're seeing a valuation on Elliot Anderson's head top of 100 million pounds. 100 M's. And listen, I really like Elliot Anderson. I think he'll be a great signing for us. I think he'll be a perfect signing. I like Adam Wharton. Baleba, obviously a good player, but he's not in good form right now. So with him, I want a loan with an option to buy. But 100 M's, bro. And the problem that we've got here is that these players are worth what the clubs say they are. Declan Rice, the same thing happened at West Ham. Nobody talks about the price tag anymore because he's gone on to live up to the expectation. The same with Caicedo. People, again, spoke about the price tag at the beginning, but he's now started to show that. But I feel uncomfortable, guys. 100, the market's gone crazy. 100 M's is just too much. If that's the case, the scouts better get scouting. Go Liga. Go Liga. Get me one of them type of man there who can run around, win the ball back and all of that stuff, all that good stuff for like 35 million or something. Or do we just start paying the money? Do we just pay the premium, guys? Let me know what you lot are saying. We want Baleba, we want Wharton, we want Elliot Anderson, we want these type of next-gen guys that understand the league. Should we be paying 100 M's, though? I don't think we should.
I should not. Let's be honest. M's for someone who's just been proving himself in the Premier League as of recent. Yeah. Now, Elliot Anderson is a good prospect, and I would love to see him in a Manchester United shirt. So don't get me wrong. But how far would you go for an Elliot Anderson type player? Please let me know in the comments. Yeah. Because in my personal opinion, anything between 55 and 65, or maybe even 70, maybe go as far as 70 would be reasonable for a player of his ilk, because you know that they're going to be asking for 100 M. It's already out there, 100 to 120. So if we can get him for anything between 55 and 60, 70, I think you've done a good deal there, or 65 with add-ons or whatever the deal is, but just do not be paying the full price. And I don't think that the even if with add-ons shouldn't go anywhere close to 100 million, but we'll see what happens. Moving on the conversation though. Actually, no, before we move on the conversation, let's see what Adam for Free of United TV had to say as well, because he hit on some actual real points about the situation in terms of what could be done in order to facilitate a deal when it comes to Elliot Anderson. So let's hear this.
Are always after the best players, and Elliot Anderson at the moment is one of the best central midfielders in the Premier League, and that's just on paper. And you look at his performances. I mean, I did make a case last night in a way to say that he's part of a team that's stuck in the relegation zone right now, out of the Carabao Cup at the first attempt. And so you could say that Elliot Anderson isn't that good. I mean, his market value at the moment is 40 million quid. Mazarakis knows what's coming. This is the reason why this price has been leaked out. He's thinking something might actually happen in January potentially here. You wouldn't get him coming out or a price being leaked out to Sky Germany of all places if there wasn't hope that, well, not so much hope, but in preparation for a transfer window coming up. Now, I'm not saying that Elliot Anderson is going to be sold in January either. I don't think he will, and I've said this many a times before. But he's putting that price out there, ready in the club and ready in anyone coming into bid that this is where it's going to be. You are not going to be able to negotiate with Mazarakis over a deal. You're going to have to prepare yourself to pay big money. I could see Manchester United in some way making a make-weight offer here with another player potentially for Elliot Anderson if they go in for him. Look, it's all way, way, way down the line. And we shouldn't even be talking about this that much, but the point of the video is, and the point of the story is really, that because Manchester United have made contact, Forest will know that United are interested. The price has already been put out there. They've already put that marker out.
And it's true. Yeah. So at the end of the day, like he said, it's just a marker. Yeah. And that's what we have to have in our heads when we get these prices come out. Because everybody's going to be trying to get top dollar for their players, as should we. As should we. Everybody should be out there trying to get top dollar for their players. I think sometimes we undervalue our players anyway when it comes to Manchester United and our fan base. Obviously, when someone doesn't do well for you, you say that they're rubbish, they're trash, get rid of them, blah, 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 blah. But you should never underestimate them to your rival fans. There's a reason why, these other groups are making money off of their players, even when they're playing badly. And we are still struggling to sell ours for some reason. It could be the high price tag, but even of recent, we're still struggling to sell for good prices. Let's see what happens going forward anyway. But you know what? The main conversation of this show, by the way, I know it says Elliot Anderson and it says Sancho on the tagline, and on the title, sorry. But I did, like I said, I watched Minna and Bots' show later on in the evening, and I did see something that caught my interest. And you know what? We was talking about Ruben Amorim. Yes, Ruben Amorim's name came up, obviously, because he's been doing good as of late. And you know what? Me and Bots had a good conversation over in the good, the bad, the ugly, where I was trying to express how well the manager has done and the fact that, I see something on the horizon, but I'm not quite there yet saying I back the manager. Bots proceeded to, try to crash out on me saying, why are you trying to flip-flop and join the good side? Anyway, I'm going to let Minna say what she has to say, and then I'm going to let Bots say what he had to say today. And then we're going to go from there. And let's see if we can have a conversation about that.
This kind of three-game win streak of Manchester United, that definitely helps the way that I.
By the way, Bots, if you're watching, I'm just trying to say this right now. Minna probably said it better than I could say it. She's probably more eloquent than me when it comes to conveying words. So, just have a listen to this before you start jumping on people who had criticisms of the manager before he all of a sudden turned it around. By the way, it's only been 3 games. Well, not just 3 games, but you know what I mean. But anyway, let's go. 3 in a row.
Feel now about the manager and the player, and we're going to talk about that in a lot of depth. Actually, you know what? Let's start with that rather than starting with transfer stuff. Let's start with Manchester United. Let's start with Ruben Amorim and Manchester United stuff. And like I said, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well if you're new here. One of the biggest things that I've kind of noticed with Manchester United and Ruben Amorim, and it's a good thing. It's 100% a good thing. Is I don't think that there's any kind of pity from players or from manager. And what I mean by that is even the manager said, after the Liverpool game, he said, the journalists, you guys have been talking about me in X way, writing about my team in X way. Keep doing that. Because you don't want to change that. I think he doesn't want to change the narrative so quickly, knowing how fickle British media and football fans can be. That is the first point. But the second point that I've
Do you know what? She says that, yeah. But I also feel that he wants to keep the same feeling in the dressing rooms in terms of like everybody's against us. Nobody expects us to do anything, that kind of feeling of we're the underdogs and everybody expects us to lose. So when we do win, we're showing them something. Now, I might just be guessing here, and I'm not in the dressing room. I've not spoken directly to Ruben Amorim, clearly. But that is something that I think he's trying to keep in the players' minds, that grit, that determination, that wanting to prove people wrong. But anyway, let's continue.
noticed is this logic of Amorim doesn't adapt. And the reason why I said that is because one of the biggest standouts for me against Brighton in particular was how fluidly and comfortably Manchester United were able and regularly switching between that 3-4-3, 5-4-1 in rest defense, 4-4-2 in rest defense. Manchester United were shifting very, very quickly. And not just that, I don't know if it was, obviously it was the instructions from the managers, but the players were ensuring that X player was in the right position. So, for example, when Manchester United, in particular when Brighton had the ball, the first thing that I noticed that Brighton were doing were Manchester United centre-backs were kind of getting tight to their guys, whether it was Luke Shaw, whether it was Lenny Yoro on Adingra or Ahmad on Adingra, whether it was Danny Welbeck dropping into pockets of space and De Ligt getting in close to him. There was some space to run in behind. And Brighton tried that a few times. They tried to do that ball over the top for someone like Minter.
I know this one's a bit long, but Minna, like I said, she just explains everything so well that I had to make sure that all of what she was said was included.
Minter to chase down. Manchester United realised that and thought, okay, when we're playing a back three and we're getting back into defensive transition or defensive positioning in a back three, this is what's happening. So why don't we switch to a back four? And that way, if X player is out of position, if Luke Shaw, and I think Luke Shaw had a very good game, but if Luke Shaw gets tight to his guy and gets, sucked out into those little third spaces in the middle third, then why don't we play in a back four? And that way, there's more space for him to be covered. And that was my thought process when I was watching the game. And I know, and like I said, it's things that I noticed and it's things that I referenced in my reaction video. But with saying that, I equally believe that Ruben Amorim is approaching games now differently depending on the opponents. I'm not gonna lie, last season in particular, I felt like a lot of the opponents that we were playing against, we were playing them in the same, like every game was the same kind of tactical game plan and approach. But now I feel like, you look at the Sunderland game and you look at the Liverpool game and then you look at, the Brighton game, I really identify and see different patterns of play in each game. And I think that's the most important thing, because I think a tactical system, despite having a tactical system and having a style of play, I think the most important style of play is having a difference in style of play, i.e. whatever opponent you come up against, your way of football kind of changes. And that's one thing that I noticed over the last couple of games. Now, I'm very intrigued.
Minna putting the words together so well. Thank you so much, yeah? Because she's explained in that little segment there just how she sees the development of our manager, Ruben Amorim. Yeah, over the last, however many months it's been since last season to this season. Because sometimes I feel like when you're speaking to bots, it's like he almost wants you to erase what happened last season and just concentrate on this season. The fact of the matter is, the sample size for bad results are bigger, greater than the good results. Now, don't get me wrong, we should enjoy every single win. And I am enjoying these wins. Trust me, the fact that we've actually been on a run, I'm so excited. And I might have to eat two hot chips this season in it, yeah, because I made some silly predictions with some hate coins. So I might have to eat two hot chips this season, but we'll see what happens. Yeah. And I do wish the best for Manchester United. So please make me eat a hot chip, yeah? Make Ruben Amorim be the manager that sees it out and just, show these players what they should be doing and how they should be acting and how Manchester United should be moving forward. But anyway, that is what it is. Now, after I watched that brilliant piece from, after I listened to that brilliant piece from Minna, yeah, Bots proceeded to go live, and here's what he did to make me have to put him into this show today. But here we go.
Similar to you, I think we've gone to battle a couple times against these Amorim outers, and I was with you standing by firm saying,
I know. Uh,
Amorim, I don't want to see him sacked.
If,
Guys like, was it Wrap Off or all the guys just like
yes,
crashing it on
yes,
us, but we stood firm. Like, I'd have
yes,
to give my respects, my salutes to you, because
yeah,
us Amorim inners, we've had hard times. We've been,
bro,
called deluded, like we don't want what's best for the club. Like
yeah,
we just stick into our habit
yeah,
just to prove that
hmm
we just don't want change. Like every name under the sun. And it's
bro,
funny how, when the good times turn around, it's like, but like we're allowed to change our minds when football's going well, like, oh, but the time suggested it was horrible, so we're not going to react to the results. So it's like, from being reactionary, we're just the people that just weren't going to change their minds regardless. So it is where it is. Like you can give it whatever label under the sun,
yeah,
whether you want to back the manager, that's just, you're just sticking by regardless of the club
yeah.
or.
And the part that's crazy, Stratford, is that, like, say we lose versus Forest, I'm not gonna change my opinion. Like, it's like, as long as, like, it's all like, I'm gonna look at the evidence in front of me, look at how we lose to Forest, if we lose to Forest, and then from there, like, make my opinion based on, like, the context of the information and where I think we're going. But at the end,
You see that though, Bots, yeah? Now that's where I think you're being very hypocritical, because if you're saying you're going to base it on the context of the performances, yeah, then why wasn't you being critical when he was doing rubbish? And why weren't people allowed to feel like it was the wrong direction? Now, I see your comment here saying that it's easier to see some of the patterns of play when you're winning. Uh, some of Ruben's plans per each game went bad because of many bozo moments from the players. Now, I hear what you're saying. Yes, there's always going to be bozo moments from players, and we have gotten rid of some of those bozo gene players. But what you also have to realize is, Bots, yeah, that which Minna did allude to when she spoke earlier. She said that she can see, and that's what Money fans are seeing right now, the fact that he has adapted. Like last season, you were seeing the same thing over and over and over again each game, and I feel now he has a game plan. Maybe it's the fact that he's adapted to the Premier League, knowing that he has to adapt to each team as they come. But you're seeing a difference now in the style of play and the patterns of play. That's what I think has changed immensely from last season to this season. Yeah, the transitions between attacking and defending have gone up 100%. Yeah, maybe it's the players, and that could be also a result of him being as stubborn as he was and sticking to it until they got it. Put my hands up to that too. That could be also part of the element. So I'm not going to say that I'm just completely right and you're completely wrong, but I feel like most of the times when you're talking about the manager, I feel like you leave out anything that was bad. But anyway, let you finish having your conversation.
Today it's like, I know that there's some people that are so results oriented on a short-term
Yeah, I
level.
call them reactionary. Like, you look at these Liverpool fans, I'm hearing their fan base is a meltdown. They want Slot out now. Like, some of these big channels, they're onto Slot. Like, you biting the hand that feeds you. You just won a title, and already you want the guy out. Like, imagine you wanted Klopp out afterwards.
Right. He didn't have much left to say, to be fair. But yeah, look, that conversation there, it just reminded me of what Minna was talking about earlier. So I thought I had to put both of them in the show. Hey, shout out Stretford Post. Big up Stretford Post. What's going on? It's good to see you. I know. Hey, what time is it where you are right now, bro? But yeah, back on subject. You know what? I had to put that in there because that conversation is something that me and Bots have been having back and forth for a while now. And like I said, Minna always explains things a lot better than I could. So I let her do it. Now, guys, I don't know if anybody actually does want to call in. But what I'm gonna do is I am going to drop the link right now. If anybody wants to call in, they can call in. I know it's really early or really late, or maybe it's just the evening time, depending on where you are. Because Stratford Post says it's 6 a.m. where he is right now. Yeah. Which, but that's only like, 4 hours away from me, to be honest, because it is 2 a.m. in the morning where I am right now. I'm awake for some reason. But yeah, like I said, I didn't expect it'll be good. Oh, I've got my sister's called in. I think she's gonna cuss me out. But let's see. Let's see. Sister's called in. What's going on, sis? What's going on? How you
Going
doing?
on? I'm good, Joe. Joe, what time is it in England?
Right now it is 4 minutes past 2 in the morning.
I figured as much. Figured as much.
I had to. Do you know I did all this setup?
You keep very weird hours, Mr. Blackman.
Editors, man. When you're editing, you're up late
No,
anyway.
no. I've known for time that you keep very weird hours. You forgot? I sat here on a. By the way, whatever happened to that gameplay that you were doing? You have to get back to that. Ooh.
Past midnight.
Yes.
Now I'm gonna finish that. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do Resident Evil for Halloween as well.
Okay. Cool. So yes,
So, how was
I'm good. The weather's changing here, so as you can tell with my hoodie on my head.
yeah, listen, I'm wearing a jumper and I'm inside, so
Yeah.
it-
The
weather
weather's
change.
definitely changing here. No, I was just listening to you, and I hear what you're saying. I'm not going to curse at you. I mean, everybody's entitled to how they feel where Ruben Amorim and this team is concerned. Their feelings are valid. We're all fans, and we all feel differently. The agenda portion of it is what I have a problem with. If you're just gonna have just
You
an
feel like,
agenda, just to have an agenda,
so you feel like when I'm speaking, I'm having an agenda?
No.
Is it
I don't think you're having an agenda. I think you're very jaded. You're a very jaded individual. You're the kind of person that, if somebody hurts you, it takes you a minute to get over that and move past it.
100%, 100%? But you know what? Yeah, you've had your criticisms of this manager over the past few months as well.
No, I have definitely. I've never said, I want him gone, but two things can be true. I can want him here, but I can also criticize when, I think he's doing certain things, that he should not be doing. So
100%.
I've definitely criticized some of his moves, some of his speech, you know, some of his in-game management. I've criticized over the last couple of games. Not the ones that we've won, but the ones that we could have won, but because of his in-game management, we failed to capitalize on those games. But I last year I knew that man couldn't do much with what we had. You know, what we had was a couple, you know, a lot of players that one either didn't want to be here or didn't want to change, and
Mm.
you know, and didn't want to play, did no longer wanted to play for the badge, I should say. And I don't think that came. I don't think that came with the manager. I think that came with them thinking they've gotten too big. They were bigger than the club.
Okay, because you know what, I can see that in the likes of people like Garnacho, yeah. Um, but the likes of like Rashford and Sancho, they never really played for us anyway.
I'm
You
not
know,
even going to get into that conversation about Sancho. Like, I don't even want to have that conversation.
yeah, that's not even. But I mean, they
I'm
didn't.
not.
They didn't
I'm
play
not. I'm
for us.
not having. I'm not having that conversation. That's like having, and I'm not comparing. 'Cause I don't want people to think I'm comparing, but that's like the current conversation that's going on with Kobe Mainoo. For me, if you have a position, you have to fight for that position. I don't care. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you made the national team. I don't care if you made the national
But
team and you know you did a hat, you know, you did, you know, some kind of wildness on the national team. You come back to your club, you still got to fight for your position in the club. You're not guaranteed anything in your club. You know, and people talk about the fact, you know, in the beginning of the season, people talked about the fact that, you know, Kobe, you know, Casemiro was starting before Kobe. But people don't realize that prior to that, Casemiro was the last man on the pecking order for Amarin. They were the youths were starting before Casemiro. Collier was starting before Casemiro at one point. You know what I mean? But the veteran that he is, he knew he had to keep his head down, work in practice, work, you know, in front of the coach, show the coach, listen, I can do this. And when he got on the pitch, whether he got 20 minutes, people forget that the reverse was Casemiro, where Casemiro was coming on with 10 minutes left or 20 minutes left in a game. But when he came on, he made sure he made an impact. You know what I
mm,
mean? He made sure he
right.
lent an assist or he scored a goal or you know what I mean? He made sure that he was in the mix. You have to when you get that light shine on you, whether it's the 15 minutes of fame, you gotta produce, brother.
Yes, yes.
You know what
So
I mean? You gotta
that Kobe's not
produce.
doing enough. Then you think Kobe's not doing enough then to actually get starts right now?
I I think people are saying the system. I don't think it's the system. I think it's Kobe's lack of, I don't know. I don't want to say pace, but I, I, I can't really pinpoint what it is at this point because in this last game that we played against Brighton, when he first came on, he looked kind of slow. But as the game progressed in the 20 odd minutes that he played, you could see that his legs started to warm up and he started to actually win some tackles and win the ball off of the opponent and stuff like that. So I'm not sure where it is that he's not it's not clicking for him. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like because we're
So,
not in practice, we're not seeing what's going on in practice. Like we can't speak to that. We can only assume or have our opinions of what's being done in practice and what's not being done in practice. You know what I mean? But for the fact that he gave him 20 something odd minutes in that Brighton game, for me that's encouraging.
yeah, do you know what? Yeah, I think the manager is trying to figure it out with Kobe because, like you said, the Casemiro situation, like you said, it was the reverse for Casemiro. You know, it was literally Casemiro was getting the last man minutes and the last end of the game time, you know, and he turned it around. I mean, I think there was a point in last season I was on one of the shows and I was saying that the manager even admitted that he just figured out how to use Casemiro, you
Oh
know,
yeah,
and
definitely.
and and I do believe that I think you know what Kobe has got time, and I know why Bots is saying exactly in the chat because he said that he thinks Kobe should just get his head down, buckle down, and stay. But at the same time, I'm gonna say this, just like Riri said, two things can be true. For me, yes, he could stay here buckled down, but if the manager's not planning on using him as much as say like another team would, why not get him alone? If he could get
But I
alone.
don't think that's the case. I think people are looking at now, and fans are instant gratification, and that's fine. We as humans, most of us don't have the patience. Most of us can't sit there and watch the percolator percolate to make the coffee.
And
We
he's
want the
young.
co-
He's
we
young.
want right. We
He's
want
only
the
used to
coffee.
instant
We
coffee.
want right.
He's
So
only
we
used to
want the
instant.
right. So we want the coffee now, right? We want the coffee now. Bobby's got years ahead of him where he's going to get into the England team. Years. Years ahead of him. He's what, 21? Even that? He's
Yep.
got years ahead of him that he's going to be in the England team, right? For
Mm.
me, I think he's going, and I said this on Bots's channel, I think, and I think I said it on the round table yesterday. He's going to get playing time once AFCON rolls around and once the FA starts in January. If he doesn't push for the loan in Jan and he doesn't go out, he will get game time. Now, what I want is when that time does come around, he actually shows us that yes, he deserves to wear the uniform and represent the badge.
But you see now, Riri, I'm not gonna lie to you. I feel a little bit differently to when you said about when, because a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people say that when AFCON comes around that he's gonna get game time. I disagree because his position, where the manager likes to play him, I don't believe will be a free position. You know, Casemiro, Bruno,
I think
Ugarte.
I think he gets ahead of I think he gets ahead of Ugarte. If and I really feel like there are going to be times where Bruno is going to have to play in that 10.
Okay,
So
yes, okay, yeah. I heard that one. Yeah, that
so
makes sense actually.
because remember we're losing in Buemo for AFCON. That's that 10 role. We're losing Ahmad on that right. We're losing Mazwari on that right. We're gonna need a right wing back, and we're gonna need a 10 on that right hand side. The tens that we have, the tens that we have to fill those positions is Mount and Bruno and Cunha.
Xerxes. I
Right,
think
and
Xerxes
right.
will
Okay, so
game
I
time
know,
that
well,
week.
I was getting to Xerxes, but what I'm saying, the tens that are currently starting right now are Mount, Bruno, Cunha. If we take out Embuemo for AFCON, right? We still need we're still gonna need somebody to put in that right wing back position. So yeah, so I foresee them getting playtime. But I have to go, Joe. I'm getting a call. But
It's
keep
all
up the
good.
good work, man. And I'm gonna look forward to those streaming for the games. Let's get back to those games. I really enjoyed it that one, the midnight whatever one.
Oh yeah?
Let's run that back.
All right, no problem, sis. I'll speak to you soon. Go take your phone call. Thank you for
I
calling in.
love, bro. Love always.
Always love, guys. You know what? Yeah, I think if I'm gonna be honest, there's a couple of things there that I think might actually play out a little bit differently in terms of who plays where. And honestly, I think Xerxes is going to get more game time or more starts than Kobe will once AFCON rolls around. Because Mount, I think Mount will start, obviously. Mount will start before Kobe in the 10. I think Mount will start before Bruno in the 10. You know, I think it will start Cunha, Mount, Bruno in the midfield, Casemiro in the midfield, and Kobe will still be on the bench. And I think even if there's a change in the 10s and Bruno goes up front, I hopefully he's ahead of Ugarte in it. That's my main hope, that he is going to be starting to get picked ahead of Ugarte. But who knows, innit? Just hopefully Kobe can produce some good performances and not just be there for namesake and not just be there on, you know, fumes of the past. Because I don't want it to be a thing where we're all defending something that's 2 years old, you know? Hopefully he can fit into this system. This system can work well. Amrin can do well. Amrin can go on and prove me wrong. Go on to be the next greatest Manchester United manager ever. That'd be a dream come true, innit? Because all I want to do is see my team win. I think that's all we all want to do, and that's why we get so frustrated at the end of the day, innit, guys? But look, it's been a great show. Funny enough, people are pulling up now. But if you are just pulling up, please run back the show and see what you missed. Smash a like. And join if you're new. Guys, it's hopefully good times ahead. And Stretford Post is in here. Go check out his show. It's going to be live at about 7 a.m. our time, UK time. I don't know what time that is, wherever you guys are watching from. I know I've got a very international crowd watching right now. But guys, please, 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 if you are new, subscribe. If you're watching this later, please leave a comment. And if you're here right now or watching it later, please smash a like. That's universal. It's been a great stream, and I take care. Speak to you guys soon.
Real legend vibes. Drive through the door like a hurricane spinning. Backhand gang always winning, never thinning. Bricks in the vision stacking heights like a ladder. The first reckless graduate, nothing else matters. Taught by the bold KG, the professor. Class full of hitters, no time for the lesser. Blueprint sharp, every line be surgical. Gang move wild, but the hustle's vertical.